The room was dark except for the soft blue glow of the television. My husband, Daniel, sat at the edge of the couch, remote in hand, eyes fixed on the screen. "You'll love this show," he'd said earlier, smiling that gentle, practiced smile that always seemed to make my doubts dissolve. I sat beside him, a bowl of popcorn in my lap, trying to ignore the tightness in my chest. Then it happened. A video started playing, not the show. A phone screen. His phone screen, mirrored on the TV. I froze as a woman's voice filled the room, low and intimate. "I miss you," she whispered, followed by a laugh I'd never heard before. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The popcorn slipped from my lap, scattering across the floor, but I couldn't move. The sound of her voice, the way she said his name, Daniel, softly, like she owned it. He fumbled for the remote, his face draining of color. "Anna, wait, this isn't what it looks like." My heart hammered so loudly it drowned out everything else. "Then what is it?" My voice came out hoarse, trembling. The room felt smaller with every second. I could smell the faint scent of his cologne, cedarwood and citrus, and it made me sick. 3 nights earlier, Daniel had been working late again. He was always working late now. I used to believe him. I even made excuses for him to our friends, to myself. "He's dedicated," I'd say. "He's just stressed about the new project." But sometimes, the way he came home, his shirt rumpled, his tie loosened, his phone turned face down on the counter, made something inside me twist. Still, I wanted to trust him. After all, marriage was built on trust, wasn't it? Or maybe on denial. He sat there now, silent, his eyes darting toward the TV, then back to me. The video kept playing. Her giggle. The sheets rustling. The unmistakable rhythm of bodies moving. "Turn it off," I whispered. But he didn't. His hands shook. Mine did too. I could feel my pulse in my fingertips. Every breath scraped my throat raw. When the screen finally went black, the silence between us was unbearable. The air was heavy, dense with something irreparable. "Who is she?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. Daniel pressed his palms to his eyes, exhaling shakily. "It was a mistake, Anna. I ended it. It didn't mean anything." That phrase, "it didn't mean anything," hit harder than the betrayal itself. Because to me, everything about us had meant something. Every touch, every promise, every quiet morning coffee. "Then why can I hear you telling her you love her?" I said quietly. He looked up, startled. I nodded toward the phone still in his lap. "You forgot to stop the next video." I couldn't remember standing, but suddenly I was on my feet, pacing. My hands trembled as I gripped the back of the couch for balance. Inside, my thoughts spiraled, grief, rage, disbelief, all bleeding into one another. I wanted to scream, to hit him, to rewind time. But I just stood there, swallowing the shards of something I used to call love. "Was it her?" I asked after a long pause. "The one from your office. The woman you said reminded you of me when we first met." He hesitated, and that hesitation was my answer. I remember the first time Daniel lied to me. It was something small. He said he was working late, but he'd gone out for drinks with friends. I brushed it off. We all need space, I'd told myself. But betrayal never begins with the big things. It starts with the tiny fractures, invisible until they split you open. I wanted to ask him why. Why risk everything we built? Why me? But then I saw the look on his face, not guilt, not regret, but fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of being the bad guy. And suddenly, I realized he wasn't afraid of losing me. He was afraid of what people would think if I left. That hurt more than anything. "Do you love her?" I asked finally. He looked at me then, really looked at me, his jaw clenched tight. "I don't know." 3 words. They shattered everything. I turned toward the door. The hardwood was cold beneath my bare feet, grounding me in a moment that didn't feel real. "Anna, please," he said, his voice breaking for the first time. "We can fix this." "Can we?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Because I've been fixing us alone for months. And I didn't even know what was broken." He reached for me, but I stepped back. His hand hovered in the air, empty. Outside, the night was cold, the kind of cold that seeped into your bones. I stood on the porch, staring at the streetlights, wondering how everything could look exactly the same when my entire world had changed. The wind smelled like rain. I wanted it to wash me clean. I thought of the woman's voice again, the softness in it. She didn't sound cruel. She sounded like me, once, hopeful, trusting, blind. For a second, I pitied her too. Days passed. I moved into the guest room. Daniel tried to apologize, to talk, to explain. But words were useless now. You can't rebuild something when the foundation itself is poisoned. He cried once, really cried. And I almost broke. Because despite everything, a part of me still loved him. That's the cruelest part of betrayal. The love doesn't vanish just because the truth arrives. But I didn't forgive him. Not because I wanted revenge, but because forgiveness felt like pretending the wound wasn't still bleeding. Last night, I sat alone on the couch, staring at the same TV. I scrolled through the streaming options, and the reflection in the screen caught my eye. I looked tired. Hollow. But there was something else there too, something fierce. I picked up the remote and hit record. Not of him, or us, but of me. My name is Anna, I said softly. I'm 32 years old. And I'm married. A few nights ago, my husband invited me to watch a show. Instead, I watched my marriage end. But maybe that's how something new begins. And for the first time in months, I smiled. Because sometimes, the end of trust is the beginning of truth.